Hey everybody, today we've got a guitar that needs a new bridge installed. It had a 6-point system in there and the customer wants to install a 2-point bridge. Now, we don't exactly have to plug all of the holes, although I want to do these two because when we put these bushings in, we have to widen these two outer holes to 3/8 of an inch. And you probably could go without plugging these two, but it's a little close for my liking. So just to be better safe than sorry, we're going to do that. I have measured the distance from the hole to the hole, and then you compare it with the middles of these arcs on the bridge, and they are pretty much there. It's a tiny bit off, though. Nope, it's not. So what that means is we just have to widen these two outer holes, and you can see kind of just by looking at it here that it's pretty much ready to go. Alright, the next couple steps are we are going to cover the electronics. We're not doing anything with the frets, so there's not going to be any metal shavings, but again, better safe than sorry. You don't want any of the wood chips or chunks of paint to be getting in those pots or in the output jack. Then, before we even touch a drill, I'm going to go ahead and measure the length of these. You sure as hell don't want to drill all the way through the body. So it looks like these are 7/8 of an inch. So when we get our drill bits, we're actually going to take some low-tack painter's tape like this, or like this, and we're going to measure 7/8 of the way up the drill bit to right there, and then we're going to mark it with tape. That's how we know where to stop. Alright, so we've got this guy all covered up, all safe, good to go. And then I've filled the holes. It's pretty easy to do so. You actually just, a lot of folks take just a chopstick, like so. Bamboo is pretty strong. What you do is you whittle it down with a knife and you shove it as deep in the hole as you possibly can. And then you can either put some wood glue in there beforehand, or you can wick in some thin super glue after the fact, which is what I did. Then you just keep adding the super glue until it fills all the way up to the top. Then you give it a while to dry. Super glue is usually pretty quick, but not if you're filling an entire thing. But with those filled, it's going to be a lot stronger for when we put in these. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a lot smaller than the actual pin. We're going to slowly size the hole up. That way you can be sure that you've kept your center. I've laid the guitar down a little bit closer to flat to be sure that I've got a nice square approach. You want to look at your drill bit from more than one angle. Make sure that it's square. And that's looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and just keep sizing them up. There we are. Holes are drilled. They're just a tiny bit smaller than these because they have a knurled side. So this side is the side that has to go down. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a little bit more of a ramp to the end of it than this end. So You want the holes to be just a tiny bit smaller than the actual pin, and then you hammer it in. Alright, they're both in. Let's do a look. Looks great. Next step is putting on the strings again and springing her up, and there you go. Be careful of that contact. Alright. So holding it stationary for now. We'll flip it over. Make sure that she's lining up to the posts. There it is. Good. And then you add the strings. Thank goodness for locking tuners. Here's your final product. Set up, intonated. Springs are set correctly in the back. She's ready to go back on stage.